All right, welcome to this segment. My name is Rock Thomas, and I want to talk to you about endless leads if you're a solar sales rep, because I've got a bit of a experience with that. And what I noticed is that for most solar sales reps, it's a bit of a grind out there, like any sales position. If you don't have a strategic partnership, you're going to be manufacturing leads every day. You're going to be starting over, knocking on doors, cold calling, running ads, et cetera, et cetera. So welcome to this segment. I'm sitting here with Jake Wilson and with Chad Lindsay, my partners in Res, and we want to talk about how can you shift and how can you have a career worth having in an industry that's growing exponentially. What do you think, Jake?
I think you can do it.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure we can do it. And I have a background in solar as well as mortgages, so I've looked at this in a couple different ways like yourself, and the great part is we all kind of came into the same opportunity and conclusion from different perspectives. But I've always been a proponent of don't do a one banana, two banana, if you can go for a bushel. Like, how do you get a lot of opportunity at once that will constantly feed it back, like you said, versus going out door knocking, which I've done, and it's good and it's fun, but it's draining, and it's hard to get a sustainable pipeline that way too.
I think we're going to call you no mistake, Jake.
Yeah, and then something about bushels, which I'm not even sure what that is, but I'll get back to you on that one off camera. I'm guessing it's a group of bananas.
Bananas.
All right. So, I'm Chad Lindsay, and I've been in the leadership role on real estate, much like Rock, for 15 years plus, and worked with over 1,000 agents, done 10,000 transactions under my belt, and seen so much in the real estate industry. And when this solar thing came into play, it became a really interesting dynamic. And today, we want to share with you is we're training our real estate agents, and we do a good job of that at our brokerage. We've trained them in these different methods. They got to first get in and learn to go hunt. They got to. That's just part of it. And same with you as a solar rep, you got to learn to go hunt. But over time, we teach them leverage in their lead generation. And one of the ways to leverage is with symbiotic relationships, okay? And so kind of what we're kind of pitching to you today is we really think you should be, really racking your brain around how can you be the best at symbiotic relationships with real estate agents. And luckily, we got trainings on that. That's what we're doing. So we're working on mending those issues on the transaction side, but also working with solar reps to heighten your guys' capacity and doing the right thing for the homeowners and helping agents get excited about that so you can have a long-term partnership. Brock, isn't that kind of the vision?
Yeah, exactly. So from our perspectives, I come from 30 years experience in real estate and running agencies for a long time. And then I stumbled across consulting in solar because I met a guy in a golf course and I like to scale teams. That's what I'm pretty good at. And when I saw that there was a clash of the solar salesperson selling a system to a homeowner and the realtor not knowing how to package that in the sales process, I ran into a problem because I thought the way that I could build solar sales teams was to have a strategic relationship with the realtor. But the realtor was, for a period of time, no, I don't want to deal with solar. And I was like, why? Solar is so good. I have solar on my home. Jake, you have solar on your home. And I'm living in Arizona and I'm saving a ton of money. I'm getting over a 25% return on my investment year over year. And then I realized that there was a gap in the education. And so if you're a solar sales rep, how do you build up your business? You knock on doors, you run ads on social media, you talk to your friends and family. But if the end user experiences that when they go to sell the home with solar on it and there's complications, the industry itself doesn't have the greatest reputation, has a bit of a stigma attached to it. And you're experiencing that in your market centers.
Yeah, that's the first thing that we're going to recommend you do is you need to see through the vision or through the angle, the perspective of the real estate agent. You need to understand what they're dealing with when they're selling a home that you may have put solar on that roof, and they're going through some things that are fairly unique to them. Agents are used to dealing with issues on homes and getting through challenges, right? But they're not oriented to the different dynamics between these UCC1 filings, PPA agreements, leases, and how the inverters might be out before the sale, or whether the production's working, or what's the thing we learned the other day where there was a family that didn't know that they hadn't got their documentation with the
it was
connectivity agreement.
I'm kind of trying to remember which utility, but I know it was in Florida, where because they moved, but then the new buyer that or the new renter put themselves on the utility, or signed up for the utility company. They voided the interconnection. So for, was it 2 years, 3 years?
4.
for 4 years, they were paying their utility bill, and the homeowner or the renter was paying the utility bill.
Yeah. They're paying for their solar financing.
They're paying the solar financing
And the utility
bill. So the utility company was getting all the energy and then also charging it, and they got no credit for it. That was the first time I'd seen that, by the way.
Yeah,
That was shocking to me.
So when we have a real estate agent bring us like, hey, I'm trying to sell this house, what the heck do I do with this? They have zero knowns about how to address or solve or deal with those kind of issues. There's no offset showing up in the electric bill. There's no value that would come from that on the appraisal. And there's so many issues that go into that. But so the first thing is we were going to recommend for you is we have some initial training courses. We have some materials you can learn from us about what the agent is seeing, because you can't relate to that agent unless you know what they're going through and how part of what you do in your industry is causing some of that.
And I'm going to just go on that, is a lot of, as we know, the time frame it takes for people to move to another home is usually 6 to 8 years is the average time frame. So a lot of the issues that realtors have had are not from people that are even in the solar industry now. It was a lot of the leases that were very prominent up to about 2013, 2014. That's where a lot of the bad taste came. But then now it's just everything it's kind of the next level, next segment of it. So everything's a little different. So it's not even stuff that we've known, and it's stuff that real estate agents have seen that we've never even sold or experienced, because it was long before a lot of us even got into the solar industry. But that's when those people are starting to sell, and those transactions are starting to happen. So from a solar rep side, you have to understand that every transaction is different. Every single solar company has a nuance, or the transferability or the warranties are different. And the realtors have no idea how to, barely, most solar people have a hard time reading all these contracts because there's pages. And then the realtors trying to understand all this with all the complexities of the utilities and transfer and valuations from the appraisals. It's a lot for the realtor, and they're not an expert in that side, and very few people are. In fact, I only know one that is.
Yeah. So I think maybe just to give a perspective on this is, if you don't know the lay of the land from the time that you're going to design the system to when they're going to resell the house, you're at a disadvantage. And so
or refinance too, depending on what their real estate transaction could be.
Mm-hmm. So all of that, we want to educate the solar sales rep so that they understand the entire process, and they keep the transaction top of mind to benefit the homeowner, so that when that homeowner goes to sell, they have a positive experience, they recoup their money, maybe make a profit. And when you as a solar sales rep have that person sell maybe before the timeline and they buy another home, they're going to want to buy another solar system from you because it was a positive experience and you took, the whole process into the equation. But let me ask, a rhetorical question is, in the presentation, we have noticed that about 20 to 25% of the people are closer toward that 6 to 8 year timeline. So they're maybe in their 4th or 5th year in the house. They're considering solar, but they're also considering moving. And so this stops them because the agent, the solar rep, I should say, doesn't know how to handle that. And when's the best time to handle an objection? Yeah, now. Right now, in that moment, to be able to have that conversation and say, well, let me lay that out for you. And in our course, we teach specifically how to handle that objection so that about 1 out of 4 of those times you can still sell them a system because there's an advantage, but you can have a frank conversation and you can deal with that versus hoping it doesn't show up, not trying to talk about it, selling them a system that's going to lead to a problem, tarnishing the name of solar. So we're trying to create that shift through the awareness of the entire process and through or the refi date, and then give them an experience that's positive.
And 2 major things are going to come from that. Number one is when you have that type of education that you provide for the homeowner, which is very rare in the solar industry, because as we always say, it's like we sell a financial product without a license. So there is a version of the Wild West. So when you're able to differentiate and have that conversation with the homeowner, even maybe if they just don't go through, if they just end up not going solar, they're going to remember you, and you're going to get probably a decent amount of referrals from that homeowner. But then 2, when you are able to have that conversation with the realtor, and they understand how you're approaching this and how you're selling with that in mind, now you get an advocate who now sees solar in a different light. And that's where we get to the point of this video is now you can create a strategic alliance, referral partner, a lot of different versions of wording of it, but it's the same thing where now you're working symbiotically where now they want you to be the person for their network. Realtors have people that are ideal for a solar rep, and that not their current or existing or their future clients, but their past clients. So how do you get a realtor to be so on board and so trusting of you that they will give you their database or work with you to contact their existing database to want to sell solar to them? Well, you have to really and you said this, you have to nurture that relationship. It's not going to happen right away. You have to earn the trust of that realtor, because they've had, unfortunately, in most cases, not great experiences moving forward, all of which can be very easily remedied with the right tools and the right education on any property.
Well said. Yeah, I think, the purpose of this video today is about helping you understand how to make more money as a solar rep and do it in a way that's not the grind, right? So we keep talking about how do we move from something where it's hunting every day to building a ranch with a bunch of domesticated cows and you can go out and get what you need to, right? So, we want to be able to build. Now that's a little rough, but hey, that's how it goes. You want to be able to get it when you need it. And so, what's the steps really are is you got to learn about their perspective. Then you got to work with those consumers and work with those agents to create this relationship. So a lot of times you might be going into a house, you may be out hunting, well, maybe asking them about who is their real estate agent that you could partner with if they have one that they call their agent. And you can start a relationship from that point of perspective and share our real estate course with that agent. Okay. So what happens then is you're teaching an agent how to sell solar properly. And so you're starting to create a team, and that team, talking about the symbiotic or the referral partners, now that agent starts to gain trust in you. You're looking out for their better interest because you're working with that client and you're helping them connect to a client they already have. They've referred you over, and you guys start working together to learn about the solar transaction side. And then you can even go into a deeper thing. And I'm sure a lot of solar reps are being taught this is how do you create a referral relationship where that agent can maybe even get a little bit of the solar commission when they sell. So, but they have to learn to trust you first on the transaction side before you can open up the floodgates of referrals to their database or any of those other kind of items. So there's this phasing that you need to approach. We have that all set up. We have trainings that are coming out soon for that. And we're very excited to be able to mend this from both angles, right?
Yeah. And I mean, Rob, you can probably do this. I'm sure your team in solar has experienced this. It's always an objection at some point. If it's not, I'm moving. It's, well, let me talk to my realtor.
Right.
Well, that is great. Now, after this course, you can say, oh, perfect. I need you to connect me to your realtor because I worked with this course that actually helps educate realtors and make sure that they understand it so we can build this for that next transaction for you. So then with the homeowner, you're working with, I mean, if they see that, they obviously have a trusted partner in their realtor. And now you're like, oh, great, let's do it. Instead of a lot of times there's different, rebuttals or objections that people can have.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to GetResCertified.com, and we have our courses there for realtors. We have our courses there for you guys as well. And then you'll have a package in that. Imagine sitting down with the homeowner and having a resale package you can discuss with them. And it has components like an actual appraisal of the system at the time that will be conducted by our expert, Jake, and his team. So they have a value for the system that is recognized by the financial institutions. Never heard of that before, did you? But it's a real thing that's happening in the shadows out there, and we're bringing it to the light. You're also going to have a marketing package in there that you're going to present to the prospective purchaser. Whether you deal with them directly or whether it's an agent that brings that person in, you're going to show them exactly what it's worth, why it's worth that, the case studies of the past, and then you're going to be in a position that you can actually get the money for the homeowner and feel great about that. So go to GetResCertified.com, follow us on this YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and you can follow us in social media as well. You can get all that free information because we are the go-to place when it comes to real estate solar solutions. Let's wrap it up, boys.
Hey, that's it. He's got the taglines there, everything good. Real estate solar solutions, we're the place to be. If you need any information, you can reach out to us on our site. There's 2 different channels. There's newsletters. There's all sorts of great information. So anything left on that?
Yep, you guys said it.
Yeah.
Now, you don't want to be up against a solar salesperson that can have this conversation around the end experience because they're going to blow you out of the water. You want to be the one that brings that up with the homeowner and says, hey, by the way, when you plan on moving, what does that look like? Let me lay that out for you so that when you do go to sell, you're actually going to benefit by this asset. You don't want to be hiding that, hoping it doesn't show up. The best time to handle an objection is before it shows up. Be proactive, be professional. Let's go. Have a business worth owning and a career that you're proud of. We'll see you on the next video.